Here we go. Tum em Tullius consul. What's that position? So the consul Tullius Cicero, sive either timens fearing eos presentium, his presence. This is of another person, eos, or conmotus, or moved ire by anger or with anger. He habuited. He had an oration luculentam, which oration is a speech. Luculentum means it's producing light, basically. So colourful oration, or a brilliant oration as it is. And atque, it was utilem, it was useful. Re publica, that's a dative, and that's a dative. It was useful to the Republic, quam, which, this would be his oration, postea, afterwards he edited, he produced the scriptam in a written format. Sed ubi illi ad sedet. So, but when he sat, this illi, he would be Cicero, Catilinae now becomes the nominative. Ut erat paratus, as he was prepared, ad disimulanda, which is a gerundive, taking this omnia. He wanted to make a pretense of everything, ad disimulanda omnia. So he's prepared to basically lie. Dimisso voltu, with his face downcast. Vocae supplici, with a supplicant voice. That's the ablative version, so it's by, with, or from. He copied. He began, taking the infinitive, to demand a patribus from the Senate Fathers, ne quid, that not anything, they say, concerning himself, crederant, so they should not believe it, temere, adverb, rashly. Ea familia autem, so he's arisen, ea is a demonstrative pronoun in the female, from a family, ita, thus or so, that say himself, we see himself here in the accusative, from adolescence, which is when you become an adult, so it's after puberty sometime. It instituit, so he'd set his vitam, his life, so he'd set his life up, so that omnia bona in spe haberet. So they would have, in hope, everything, and of a goodly nature, was what he was expecting. So he rose from a family, and he built his life from adolescence to have good hopes for the future. Ne existumerant sibi, so ne is going to have something in the negative sense. They should not think, existumerant, so head verb, you should not think for himself, sibi dative, patriciano homini, still keeping this dative sense. They're not for himself, a patrician man, of whom Ipsius himself and Ipsius Maiorum and his ancestors, of his family line, which he'd briefly mentioned up here about his family. Plurima beneficia in plebem Romanum essent. So this is in the past they had done many beneficial things, means towards the plebs of Rome, or the Roman plebs. That's that position there with the accusative. Opus esse, so there's a need for perdita republica, for the destruction of the republic. So what he's saying is, they shouldn't think that he, patrician male, and him and his ancestors done many beneficial things for the Romans. They shouldn't think that he would found some need to destroy the republic. Quum eam serverat em Tullius, when Cicero himself was protecting Eam, which would be the republic, who was an inquilinus, which is an adjective here in the nominative, means he's not living in his own house. I might make that the daily dictionary. So in the city of Rome, so he's a foreigner to the city of Rome, is what he's saying. Ad hoc. To this, maledicta alia cum aderat. So to this he added, ad hoc means to this, aderat means he added, other maledicious things. So male means bad, and dicta means saying. So he said some bad things in addition. And omnes, which means everyone, they obstreperate. They raised the din to this. hostem and parasitum vocere, and they called him an enemy and a parasite, which can mean a traitor. So I was wrong here when I said Aquilinus was a adjective. It's a noun. Inhabitant of the same house, tenant lodger. So they're saying he's out of towner. Inhabitant, and we've also got type of serf. Top 10,000 words. Inquilinus. There's other ways. That's Latin dictionary. If we go into Latin as simple or Wiktionary, I use this one sometimes. It's a noun as well. A sojourner, tenant, lodger. This term needs a translation in English, so this dictionary is an adjective here. Of foreign birth. Okay, yeah, so it can be an adjective as well. Okay, where the hell were we? 9. Tum illi furibundus. Then he, illi, furibundus, means he's abundant with fury, he's bearing fury. So he had a temper. Quoniam quidem, so indeed or even, quoniam sense, circumventus, means he's circumvented, so he's surrounded, inquid he said, ab inimicus, by his enemies, ego, that's the passive of ago, I am being driven, praeseps means headlong, insidium meum ruina restiguishim, I shall extinguish meum insidium, is fire, ruina, with destruction. And the lobe has got a footnote. Ruina, a demolition, refers to the practice of fighting an urban conflagration by demolishing structures in the fire's path. According to Cicero, Catiline used this imagery in an angry retort to Cato before the consular elections in 63, when Cato was threatening him with prosecution. If you like footnotes. 32. Deinde, then, say himself, excuria, from the Senate House, he pro-ripited himself. So he snatched himself away with a bit of haste. It looks like home. And there's another footnote on this curia. Usually the curia is the building, but on this occasion the meeting was held at the temple of Jupiter Stator, not in the curia hostilia in the forum, if that clarifies things. Ibi, there, probably at home. Multa, many things. Ipse secum volvens, rolling over many things with himself, so over in his mind. Because nequi insidia concilia proceedaba, because nothing of his plottings, his insidias of the consul, had proceedabanted, they hadn't gone ahead well, and ab incendio intelligat, and he was understanding that from an incendio, from a fire, the urbam was munitem, so it was fortified by vigilus, watchmen. This is probably what he was talking about. He was going to burn the place down. Now we see that there are watchmen stationed, and so it would stop him burning down the town. Optimum, the best thing, factu, in fact, credens, he was believing, would be to augure the exercitum, so it would mean to increase his army. And credens would be taking this little infinitive. And priusquam, prior than legions being scriberentored, conscribing or enrolling or signing up legions, there was many things anti capere to do in advance or to take in advance, of which would be useful, usi, forent, in war. That's in the ablative. Anything that uses utor usually goes in the ablative. So, in tempesta nocte, little ablative phrase, the dead of night, this is used over and again many times in Latin. Cum porcus, with a few friends probably, or a small group, he profectus est. So he set out in Manlia Castra, in the accusative Castra is the camp, to Manlius's camp, looks like he's going to. Said Cethegus, but Cethegus and Lentulo, they're in there, looks like dative maybe, and Ceterus, the rest of them, of whom quorum cogniverit, of who we knew were promptam mordacious, were ready at hand with their boldness. Promptam just means ready at hand. So he's mandated, he's given instructions to them, which would be why they are in the dative. He gave instructions to them that possent but with which things, quibus rebus, they were able to do, they could confirmant, which means to strengthen the opes, the resources of the faction, factionis, and insidious console mutuarit, and to mature, bring it ready to carry out these insidious, these plots to the consul, which would be Cicero. And we have here what they're doing. Cadem is slaughter, incendia, fires, and aliqui belli facinora parent. So they were getting ready all these slaughters and fires and other facinora, which are crimes of war. They got these things ready. Sese himself, propodem, it was almost the day when, it's cum magno exercer, with a great army, he would, it's a future, accessorum, he would go close at Urpum to the city. So himself, he was getting ready for the day when, with a great army, he would attack the city, I'm guessing. Dum haec Romae gerunta. So, dum, while haec these things were gerunted, were being conducted or carried on at Rome, Romae, si Manlius, ex suo numo, from his number, legatos ad Marcim regem, he sent a legatos, which is a delegation, or sent some men, deputies, to Marcus Regum. Marcus Rex, actually. So he's not a king, because it's in the capital letter there, so it's a proper noun, with mandatus huis qui modi, with the instructions or mandates of this nature, or huis qui modi, of this, in this way. Dios hominis qui testimo. So you might want to say we testify gods and men, but it looks like he's asking the gods and men that they're witnesses in front of them. The imperator, the general, nos ama neque contra patriam capisi. So we have not taken up arms against our patria, our fatherland, and neither quo periculum alias facimus, and neither by which are we making a periculum, any danger, alias, to other people. But utai, so that corpora nostra, that our bodies forent would be tutor, safe from injuries, injustices as well. Qui misery, who we are miseri, we're wretches or miserable, and we are egentes, we're in poverty. Violentia incrudelitate, phaenoratorum. Okay, so the phaenoratorums are people who lend money out for interest. So the people who are wretches and in poverty, looks like this would be ablative. So, well, that's definitely ablative. So, from the violence and crudelity of the interest, moneylenders will say, pleriqui, most of us, pleriqui, something to do with the fatherland again, sed omnes fama and fortunes expertus sumus. So, we are expertus, it's the third declension, so it means we're lacking or we're deprived. So, most of us are expertus sumus, we're deprived of fatherland, said omnes, but all of us, from our fame or that's their good standing and their fortunes, they're all lacking their good reports and their fortunes and their fatherland by the violence and the cruelty of these moneylenders. Nequi, so neither cuiquem, to anyone, nostrum, any one of us, licet, is it permitted or allowed or may we utai use this, taking the ablative, utor again, taking the ablative, use this law, more maiorum, which was the custom of our ancestors, nequi amisso patrionum, and neither, since we have amisso, lost our patrimony, habere corpus liberum, so we have a freedom of our bodies. What this is going on is that in violation of the lex Poetelia and Papira of 326, which curtailed imprisonment for debt. So, looks like they, since they owed money to these money lenders, they should have been imprisoned or something like that. Tanta savitia faenorum atqui praetoris fuit. Nice short sentence. So, tanta, such is the severity or the savageness of these, that's the genitive, of these moneylenders, and fuit, of the praetor. Now, the urban praetor presided over suits involving debts. And we're nearly done. Okay. Saepi, often, maiores vostrum, our ancestors, miserati, plural, they had pity plebis Romanae, to the plebs of Rome. These are the lowest people on the totem pole. And with decretis suis, with their decrees, opiculato sunt, the I again means plural. This comes from opiculato, which is a deponent, which means to help or to relieve. Eosinopia. There are, as we know, opes means when you've got resources. Inopes means you're in poverty or without resources. So often our ancestors would take pity on the plebs of Rome, and they would use decrees which would help those who are in poverty, something like that. Ac novissime, and most recently, superlative, in memoria nostra, that's ablative, so it would be in, by, with, or in. Now, memory, propter, on account of the magnitudum, that goes into the accusative because that's a preposition, takes the accusative. On the magnitude of the aeris alienae, which is bronze of another, which means debts. So on account of the size of the debts, looks like these are all ablative, volentibus omnibus bonus, with the will of all the good people, argentum, which is silver, solutum est, was paid out with the ablative, with bronze. So if you had a debt, what was owed in silver could be paid out with bronze. And another footnote from the Loeb, the Lex Valeria of 86 permitted debts to be settled by payment of 1/4 of the remaining principal. Hence bronze for silver, since each silver sesterce equaled 4 bronze asses. And that's it. They all lived happily ever after.